Hey dumplings, it's David Desai. Welcome back to my channel. So today we have a whole update on the whole controversy involving BTS and China. Apparently the Korean commissioner decided to come out and say something. We love a statement. I was not expecting this statement though. Things are definitely getting a little bit crazy right now, and I have a lot of thoughts, and I'm ready to kiki about that with you. We also have a female Korean idol who talked about how she now likes Jungkook, even though before she didn't. So we will get into that and that tea. If you are new here and you're interested in this type of stuff, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and that notification bell to be notified anytime a new video drops. And if you're a hater, like to be the first to leave your hate comment, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and that notification bell also so you can be the first to do so. Now let's jump into it. The first thing we're going to jump into is of course the BTS and China controversy. Now if you don't know what happened, I have a video that talked about everything that went on with that. Just go to my channel, find this video and go to the video before it and you'll see the video with all the details. I go more in depth in there. But basically to sum it up, BTS had a speech for the Van Fleet Award and they made a little video for the speech. In the speech, RM kind of talked about like the history with the Korean War and America and all that stuff, and the men and women who fought in that war, specifically just talking about Korea and the United States. Now, a lot of people, including myself, just listened to the speech and felt like, well, this is whatever. There's nothing wrong with this. But little did we know, some people were trying to make something wrong with it. The speech was about Korea and the United States, no other country. But a lot of the netizens were upset that BTS completely ignored China in the speech. But China wasn't part of the speech. I just don't see that China was purposely ignored in a speech that they weren't even supposed to be a part of. It wouldn't have made natural sense for China to be included in this speech anyway, since it was about Korea and the US. Although I can see where people are upset over this. China is often ignored and misrepresented, and obviously they have intense patriotism over there that is good. I do believe for this reason they feel like they have been ignored, but there needs to be somewhere where a line is drawn. Where just because someone doesn't mention China, because it's not relevant to the conversation, it doesn't mean that this person is downright saying China sucks or ignore China. Direct that hate, give that energy towards Trump because he is saying those things. But after all that controversy, I really did think it would kind of die down. Or like nothing else would really come of it, no one would really talk about it anymore, and this was kind of like the peak of it. And maybe that'll be the peak of it if Big Hit decides to come out and say something. But little did I know. But apparently the military man, the commissioner in Korea, he actually came out and said something. This was initially, I believe, a conversation about BTS going into the military. I don't believe the meeting was called to talk about this. I could be wrong. But regardless, they decided to talk about this and address it. The commissioner's name is Mo Jung-hwa. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I think it's very interesting how BTS at this point is so much more than just music. They're like intertwined into politics now. Now that's just absolutely crazy. But basically what Mo Jung said was this: the fact that BTS mentioned Korea's alliance with the US is an encouraging thing. Chinese netizens should be ashamed to talk about this issue. I think that they are 100% wrong when they claim that BTS should have recognized the harm the allies of North Korea suffered as well. And I do think it was crazy that he felt like it was a big enough deal for him to actually step out on his platform and say something. An issue like this shouldn't go that high up into the government. Now, while defending BTS is a great thing, I am all for it. I 100% agree. I don't think this is going to change anyone's opinion. If someone was against BTS, they're not going to change their opinion just because this person said something. It's not going to resolve any issues or tension. And honestly, I don't know what they could do. Because if BTS does apologize, a lot of people are going to be upset that they're not standing their ground and being more true to themselves and apologizing for no reason. But if they don't apologize, then obviously the Chinese armies and the Chinese netizens are going to be very upset and they could lose their entire Chinese audience. So it is like a lose-lose situation. However, I do believe if they do apologize, although a lot of us would probably be upset for not standing their ground, we're not going to be upset to the point where we won't buy their album. We're not going to cancel some pre-orders. I always do think it's best to apologize after a controversy. I mean, I feel like Big Hit has apologized for so many things in the past that maybe they weren't wrong about. But I'm very curious to see what they end up doing here. I'm still going to stand regardless. Now, if you want to know how I honestly feel, this honestly has to be the most boring controversy that's ever existed. The amount of research I had to do to try to even kind of understand what was going on. I had to go and look up what happened in the Korean War because I didn't pay attention in school and I'm still not 100% sure. I had to figure out what happened in China and I honestly feel like I was back in history class. BTS are artists. They make art. They just made a speech to thank people. That is all. If they won an award in China, I'm sure they wouldn't sit there and talk about the US all day because it wouldn't make any sense to do so. I definitely wanted to see the overall reaction kind of on the Twitter. One person wrote, "Finally, someone with a lot of common sense. Thank you for this, sir. A lot of people need to hear this." I agree. I really agree with the commissioner's statement. I don't think BTS is in the wrong here, and I'm glad he said what he said. As I mentioned, I don't think this changes anything. But it is nice to know that the commissioner maybe is like an army, I think, on the BTS side, you know what I mean? Likes to tickle the BTS fancy. Now, this issue escalated in China to the point where China's Foreign Affairs Deputy Director decided to put out a statement. Y'all kidding, right? His name was Zhao Lijian, and he basically said this: I have taken into account the relevant articles and reports and also noticed the reactions from Chinese netizens. I want to say that we should learn from history, look towards the future, value love and peace, promote friendship, and these should be our common goals. These are worth us joining hands in hard work. To me, this was Li Jian's way of saying, I did the research and it's not that deep. Let's just be friends instead. There was clearly no hatred, no anger, none of that in this statement. I would imagine China has very much moved on from the Korean War and isn't really thinking or talking about that. At least the government isn't. But even after that, obviously a lot of people still seem to be very upset online. On Chinese social media, of course. On a slightly different note, I was seeing people online basically angry at anyone who even talked about this issue, saying people who have talked about this issue have been making it bigger than what it actually is. But keep in mind, this issue was so big that the government of both parties had to come out and say something. The government will ignore issues usually within entertainment. So this felt like it was serious enough that both parties decided to come out and say something. This isn't people talking about it and making it a big deal. This is it being a big deal on its own, for whatever reason. Can y'all believe that I will get hate just for talking about a subject? And I'm not saying that they hate on my opinion. I would totally understand that, because if you disagree with what I'm saying, that's totally fine. You can hate. I get hate just for even talking about the topic. They don't listen to what I have to say. I get hate just for the topic being even in the title. I hope things start to settle down for BTS a little bit, and I think it would be smart for them to lay low just a little bit until all of this passes, because it will pass, and whatever happens, happens. Us armies here in the United States or wherever you are will probably still go ahead and buy albums. We'll buy more albums to make up for it. I'll buy 2 albums instead of 1 album. I wish I could buy more, but daddy's broke. Jungkook has recently been in the news as well. Well, not him specifically, but the one woman who talked about Jungkook. Some of you might know her as Lady Jane. She's a singer from what I can tell. And recently she appeared on a YouTube channel called Studio Flow and talked about the musicians that she likes and all that jazz. Giving us all the good tea, if you will. Lady Jane talked about how she regretted not getting to know BTS a little bit more, or at least get to know them much sooner before they blew up. Maybe she could have gotten a collab. But also, knowing a much bigger artist can help you outside of just getting famous. I think people think that if you're friends with someone who's bigger, all you care about is getting clout. No, you also get guidance, you get advice, and you get the good resources that come available with this person. This is way more important than just getting clout, in my opinion. And I'm not saying that's what Lady Jane was after, not at all. But I'm definitely saying she could have gotten those things. Lady Jane mentioned her interaction with Jungkook when she was asked if she had any connection to BTS. She said how she was not a fan at first, and she didn't really know much about the group. But when she was on the TV show Masked Singer, Jungkook was her partner. Masked Singer, if you didn't know, is basically a show where artists come on and they're completely masked, like wearing costumes. You don't know who they are at all. You don't even get to see kind of their body type in most of these scenarios. So all you have to go on is the sound of their voice, and you should be able to figure out which artist that is. And they get judged based on their voice. Now, these are celebrities that go on the show, so likely you know who the singers are. But Lady Jane mentioned how her bias is Jungkook. She continues to say that she very much regrets not getting to know Jungkook back then, and still regrets that to this very day. I feel you. I wish me and my husband Jungkook also talked more. It's so very cute to hear her sad about this, not getting to know Cookie a lot better when she had the chance before. But hey, at least she got a chance to sing with him. That is something that not a lot of people can say they've done, and that's honestly a good accomplishment on its own. Us armies, of course, after hearing her story, have no choice but to stan. Like, she's amazing. She's beautiful. Anyway, let me know what you think about these 2 T's here today. Let me know what your thoughts are. Leave it down in the comment section down below. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'm featuring this comment right here. Thank you so much for your comments. As always, I do have a Patreon. If you want to go over to my Patreon, kind of check that out. I upload a lot of exclusive content over there, like music video reactions, performance reactions, ship reactions, a lot of stuff that I can't necessarily upload on here because they do get taken down or copyrighted and all that stuff. So I do keep it over there on my Patreon. So be sure to go ahead and check that out. Link in the top of the description down below. Also, anything you contribute over there also gives back to this channel, helps me make better videos and all that stuff. I have a video over there on Patreon explaining that. With that said, there are 2 videos that will appear on the screen at the end of the video. So click on one of those videos. I'll see you over there. Bye.